Welcome to the best of the tie-in.
Hi, Alex and Allison. Welcome to the tie-in.
Hey guys.
Hi. Thanks for having us. I've been listening to a lot of your episodes, and I just want to say thank you because I don't know, you've interviewed so many like really cool people, and I feel honored to, camera assistant Alex gets to give her 2 cents. So thanks.
It's a
Yeah.
community effort.
It totally is. And it's interesting, because our whole premise behind this is to elevate the voices of people doing amazing work behind the scenes, right? And you both are part of that. I mean, you're doing a lot of work in sustainability behind the scenes and in your particular department. So we're excited to hear your perspective, what you're seeing, how you're doing it, all the stuff. So thanks for coming
Challenges.
on. I know. Yeah. So yeah. So you're both local 600 members. Let's, start there in the camera department.
Alex and I are part of the Local 600 Sustainability Committee. We were established in 2019, and we were really inspired by the PGA call to action letter that was released in 2021 with the goal of reducing carbon emissions by 50% by the year 2030. So when we were crafting our mission statement, we really wanted to focus on two key components, education and action. And, in the context of the film production, process, it generates a lot of waste, it produces a lot of carbon emissions. And so we just wanted to, focus on what we could do within the camera department to make a difference. And, we feel like we have a responsibility to lead the way in addressing climate change. So anyway, I'm the Western Region chair of the committee, and Alex is one of our Western Region committee members. We have committee members in 5 major cities. So it's not just LA and New York like we always think about, or Atlanta. We also have folks in Chicago, and then we also have folks in the Albuquerque, Santa Fe area as well. So we have our New Mexico faction as well. So we've just been really focusing on generating member solidarity with events that we're planning in all of those regions. So it's become much more of a sort of national but regional approach to sustainability. So in the past, we were more focused on sort of what was going on in LA, and now we're really trying to generate action in the other cities, which has been really exciting. One of the Chicago has been really inspiring. We have 4 really exciting folks there who are really pushing to make a difference in that community. And one of the things that we just got off the ground was we always do e-waste collection. That's kind of been one of our things that we've started in the last 3 years, because when we talk about the camera department and the kind of waste, just again, going back to trash, like Alex said, the trash waste that we're talking about, it's mostly electronic based, but also just in our personal lives too, right? Like we all watch TV, we have hard drives at home, memory cards, batteries, toaster ovens, whatever, all those things, but also in our own department, batteries especially. So what's really exciting is we've been hosting these usually 1 or 2 times a year in each of the major cities I mentioned, but Chicago just established the Local 600 Chicago offices are now going to be a year-round e-waste drop-off site for members, which is really exciting. And they can take all the things we talked about, watches, fluorescent lights, phones, laptops, hard drives. So we're just really excited. We're hoping this sort of lays the foundation for maybe being able to implement this in the other cities if it's successful. So that's really exciting. The other big thing we just started was we have a partnership with EcoSet in Los Angeles, which is a really wonderful organization that is trying to tackle material circularity. When we talk about material circularity, usually this is in the context of the art department or costume, but we, again, looked internally about what are the things that we are generating, and one of the big things is expendables, camera expendables specifically. So, we were in conversations with them for a little bit, and then we just a couple months ago established. So we have a physical centralized location where now folks can come and bring their camera expendables to EcoSet, and then they get redistributed into the community for free. So anyone who works, if you're just a film student or if you work in theater, independent filmmaker, you can come and pick up any of these sort of gently used items for free. So it's just really exciting because we again, we do generate waste within our own department as well. And maybe it doesn't seem as bad, like there's a lot of pointing fingers, like the sound department has more batteries than the camera department. Everyone's always like trying to point fingers at each other a little bit. But I think that ultimately this is just a great way to kind of come together as a community and again, just try to recirculate, because I think we talk about recycling so much. And I think the thing that I've really learned through this process is it's that whole reduce, reuse, recycle. And it really is reduce. We have to focus on reduction and stopping waste generation at the source, because recycling is the last step. Like that's like the worst case. It should never have to get to that point, right? So then again, with EcoSet, we're talking about reuse, the middle step. So yeah, anyway, just really focusing on waste reduction as kind of one of our big key components kind of moving forward.
I love it. And just to keep it at a high level, are you coordinating all of your initiatives then through all the various cities, and so you've rallied around the e-waste recycling? Are there other directives that are specific to either each area that you're adopting as an organization? I was just maybe talk us through some of that, how that works, because it sounds like each region has different needs and priorities. However, clearly there's a lot of similarities.
Yeah. So we sort of tried to come up with a few main initiatives, and then applied those to the 5 cities, and we're still growing those volunteer-based, like Alex said, and trying to figure out who are the people with the boots on the ground to kind of do the work. But yes, so obviously e-waste is a really big one. We also really focus on panels at trade shows. That's another big thing for us. So we specifically in sustainability, right, in that conversation. So again, we are a regional committee, so we host panels usually as part of NAB Las Vegas, NAB in New York. We do Cinegear in Atlanta, Cinegear in LA, and then also Filmscape is the main trade show in Chicago. And so we plan around sort of specific, like you said, every region has a really specific challenges to sustainability. Some cities are more established with this conversation than others. And so we try to tailor each conversation to what that community wants to talk about and gaining insight into that specific conversation. When it comes to NAB Las Vegas, that is more of an international kind of national conversation. So that is more generalized, I would say, but the other ones are very specific to each city and kind of what do people want to hear about at those trade shows. So that's one of the other big things we do. And then the other component, well, I guess there's a few other things, but obviously Earth Day is a big part of our committee. And so one of the big things we've been really working in different cities. Again, each city has different things that they want to focus on. And we have members that are passionate about different things. So in Atlanta, we're really focused on tree planting. That's a really big, we have a big organization based there for doing, partnering with Trees Atlanta, which is a really wonderful organization. And then, Chicago, we do a lot of community garden cleanups. Then LA or New York, it's more like river cleanups. In New York, we actually have an adopt a highway. We adopted a highway, a stretch along Route 9. And so we are actually doing cleanups as part of that process. So yeah, each city sort of has a different appeal or like a different layout, right? So what would be the thing that would be more helpful there? And so we try to have our volunteer base, guided around that. And then in terms of maybe more nationally, looking at things that we're doing kind of nationally as an organization, we also are part of the Labor Network for Sustainability. We are an institutional ally. It's our 5th year with them. They're really a wonderful organization. And, that's been kind of an important part of, I don't know how to put it exactly, but in terms of connecting, I think one of the biggest struggles we have in our union is, as a camera department member, I am passionate about climate, being climate activist, but why does what I do for my job connect to climate change? I think we're trying to really educate members on why being a camera department member still means that you are contributing to the waste and the carbon emissions that's existing in the world. And California is the 5th largest economy in the world. And one of the big components of that is the film industry. You can't deny that. I know that's just one state, but just in general, the industry, I think most folks understand climate change and they want to, you plant a tree, clean up a river, but they don't understand what their jobs have to do with it. And I think for us, learning about organizations like Labor Network for Sustainability, we also are allies with Everyday Action in LA, which reallocates catering from food on set to homeless communities in LA. And I think just partnering with these organizations really establishes where's the connection between what we do for a living and why we should care. And one of the mottos of Labor Network for Sustainability is making a living on a living planet, which has always really resonated for me. And so we are allies of other organizations. And then I guess the other component, the last thing that we kind of do nationally is we've had a tradition for the last 3 years to contribute to an organization called One Tree Planted, which plants trees where it's needed most in the nation, also in the world, but we focus mostly in the US. And we plant in honor of members who've passed away. And so we've done this since 2022. It's been a really moving experience. Alex and I have sort of personally taken this on, and we reach out to the families of the members who passed away, and we personally make sure that they get a certificate that is, dedicated to each individual member, and a very specific number of trees is planted for each member based on how, based on their age at the time of passing. So it's a really specific process, and trying to get contact information for folks. It's been a long journey, but it's been really heartwarming to talk to the families. It's been emotional, obviously, but it also just feels like
A collective grieving
yes.
process.
Exactly. I was just going to say, it's like this collective grieving process, but it's this way to build, again, union solidarity, but in the context of climate action. I think that that's been really powerful. And so that's something we've been really proud of as well.
Yeah, I think it's a really lovely tie-in too, because when we do it, like if you pass at 70, we plant 70 trees. And when you calculate it all up, and it's like each year we're planting around 3,000 trees, and it's like, wow, like that many years of life, like it was close to that number of years contributed to our union. And then now they're kind of like being honored in a tree that will keep on growing for our next members and our next generation. So,
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. We'd love for you to like, subscribe, and share. We do this because we love doing it. We believe in what we're doing, and we believe in the amazing guests that we have. So please share this with a friend and a colleague and spread the word.
Our designer is Aaliyah Kane. Music is by Peter Chapman. Social media is by Sharon Ewan. Our editor and producer is Rachel Werbel.